The student newspaper at Stanford University has sued the Trump administration over its efforts to use federal immigration laws to revoke visas or deport non-citizens for expressing pro-Palestinian views, arguing that such policies violate the First and Fifth Amendments of the U.S. Constitution. The lawsuit was filed by Stanford Daily Publishing Corporation, which operates the Stanford Daily, along with two unnamed plaintiffs, in the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California. The Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, FIRE, a national free speech organization, is representing the student publication. Named as defendants are Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. FIRE describes the lawsuit as the first of its kind and a significant challenge to what it sees as the Trump administration's suppression of free speech since returning to office. The complaint alleges that non-citizen writers for the newspaper have self-censored, avoiding coverage of pro-Palestinian protests and issues related to Israel's war in Gaza. Some have even tried to remove their previous articles on these topics. The two other plaintiffs, referred to as Jane Doe and John Doe, are non-citizens legally residing in the U.S. Neither has been charged with or convicted of any crime, but their fear of retaliation has led them to limit their speech. The complaint notes that one individual has since resumed pro-Palestinian journalism and advocacy, putting him at risk of visa revocation or deportation. The lawsuit accuses Secretary Rubio and the administration of trying to turn free speech into a conditional privilege, subject to the decisions of federal bureaucrats, and alleges that they have triggered deportation proceedings against lawful residents for protected political speech regarding American and Israeli foreign policy. Responding to the lawsuit, Department of Homeland Security Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin dismissed it as baseless and political. She stated DHS does not arrest people for protected speech and emphasized the agency's role in removing threats to public safety. McLaughlin also said the U.S. has no obligation to admit or allow those it considers terrorist sympathizers to stay. McLaughlin quoted Secretary Noem, who warned that those who seek to hide behind the First Amendment to advocate anti-American and anti-Semitic violence and terrorism will not be tolerated. The complaint seeks both preliminary and permanent injunctions to prevent Rubio and Noem from using immigration laws to retaliate against the plaintiffs for their speech. In a related development, the American Association of University Professors and several university chapters filed a similar lawsuit in Boston challenging the administration's actions against non-citizens for pro-Palestinian speech. That case is still awaiting a judicial ruling. USA Today reached out to the State Department for comment.